What's up, everybody? It's your boys. We're back in the studio. This is Chris,
What's up,
jamming
y'all?
out by himself.
Just, we are Bone with the boys. Let's get it. Start that chant.
Today, we are coming back with XFL Week 8 recap for you guys.
That's right, Week 8. We keeping it strong, keeping it going for you guys. One of the games during the Week 8 was Vipers versus the Battlehawks. And I'm telling you, that was a game, especially with the Battlehawks bringing in a different quarterback because McCarron was out.
Yeah, I seen it. They had a quarterback named Tiano up in there, and I thought he was looking pretty decent out there. What did you think?
Yeah, Tiano was doing good. I got one of the plays here where he did a 32-yard touchdown pass to Akeem Butler. And honestly, it was a nice pass. I mean, it was just perfectly set. Hakeem Butler made space, and I think Hakeem Butler's like their number one target for sure on that team.
Yeah, I'd definitely say he's probably their number one target, but since we're talking about targets on their team, did you see the long touchdown pass to Greg Jennings?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I think it was about 70 yards. He launched that ball down the field, and it was only a short pass, but Greg Jennings took off.
Oh, are you talking about the fake punt play?
No.
With Gary Jennings?
What? Maybe.
So there was a play where...
Did I read wrong?
I don't know if you read it wrong or watched wrong, but there was a fake punt play where Gary Jennings and punter Sterling, I believe it was Hoffricher, threw the ball as a fake punt, and Gary Jennings took off down the field. And but shout out to Stephen Mitchell though for the late block, because if it wasn't for that late block for Stephen Mitchell on the Battlehawks, Gary Jennings wouldn't have scored that touchdown and brought him back.
Okay, see, since you said the late hit to save him for the touchdown, I think I probably read wrong, and it was probably the punter that threw that. To who? Gary Jennings?
Yeah, it was Gary Jennings.
Okay, I read it. Wow. Listen, I was trying to do that on my lunch break.
All good. But speaking of passes, though, or passers, let's talk about Nick Tiano coming in and stepping up for AJ McCarron. Nick Tiano, what do you think about him, though, personally?
I mean, I think he's looking decent out there so far. We definitely seen that he can run. He had a rushing touchdown in there, but he got smoked at his hip.
I'm about to say it was a brutal rushing touchdown.
As soon as he crossed that line, so he kind of ended up paying for that one.
Right. What he's talking about is that Nick Tiano got helicoptered into the end zone.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he's going to be a broadcaster for the XFL.
Yeah, he would have a hip replacement after that hit. But no, dude, I got a side note about that where if that happened in the NFL, for a fact that the refs would have been pulling those flags out.
Yeah, no kidding. Unnecessary roughness, dude.
Definitely. They would have been like, helmet to helmet.
Yeah.
Knowing that it was really the dude that just hit him on his hip that made him spin. But all right. Another thing I got for the Battlehawks, though, this is towards their defense. Carson Wells, him and two other defenders on the defense of the Battlehawks burst through the Vipers line and just made the Vipers quarterback just have to, he got scared. He froze, basically. And Carson Wells ended up getting the sack, but I was just more surprised about, where was the blocking at? You let three guys through your line?
Yeah, that's a little crazy. I mean, you don't see him pressured back there, I would say, too much. He can usually find some type of check down, and if not, he typically makes a controlled pass out of bounds, but you don't ever see him in a panic state like that.
Right. One thing about this game in total, though, don't, quote me on this, but I think it might be true, where the Vipers and Battlehawks is the first overtime game of this season.
Okay, so then I must have missed that there was an overtime in that game too. I need to start reading better articles, dude.
Who's your source? So they were the first overtime game this season, I believe. Like I said, don't quote me. There could have been others that I wasn't too sure about. But So back to who I was talking about before, Hakeem Butler. If this is true that this was the first overtime game in the season, he's the first touchdown scorer in the overtime games.
Yeah, that would be true then, I guess.
Right. But after that game, we got the Renegades versus the Guardians in Week 8. And honestly, it was a fluke last week, I would say. The Guardians ended up losing the game again. So I think that one game, was a fluke. Granted, they beat an undefeated team, but they're back to their old ways.
Yeah, I'd definitely say that the Guardians just proved to us that they haven't changed one bit besides for that last week that we seen. On their side of the ball for the offense, we mainly, for what I seen and what I heard during that game, fumble. The ball's out again. Ball's on the ground.
Sacked.
Renegades recovered.
Dormady sacked again.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
bro, what?
Yeah, it was almost sad to hear the commentator's voice during that game, but maybe we'll see some type of improvement next week. However, it's a little late in the season. I doubt it.
Yeah, did you see in the game, though, that they were talking about, during a kickoff return, that the Guardians, let me make sure that I was right before the Guardians, sorry. The Guardians ran a trick play during kickoff, where it was like, basically they pitched the ball back to somebody further back. Honestly, it was risky because it was a close one where the dude could have missed the ball,
Right.
and it was close to the opponent's end zone. But luckily, he got the ball. He made some yards, but it wasn't like how they probably wanted it to be, where he would have got further down. But I think he got about the same spot where the original ball holder would have gotten.
Right.
So honestly, I don't think it really worked out for them. And like I was saying, it was risky.
Yeah, I mean, they tried some trickery that at the end of the day, the reward wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah. Another thing, but on the Renegade side, Lawan Winningham and Luis Perez. Long drive, long ball down the field. Great catch. Lawan Winningham made great separation. Caught the ball. Got the yards. Unnecessary roughness. He decided to get in a little fiasco, a little roughness with the opponent. And he pushed the guy and they threw a flag on him. And then Luis Perez, you can hear it. And he's like, dude, come on, man. What are you doing? Or something like that. But he was like really mad about it. And I was like, I mean, I see where you're coming from. But then again, you just got there. Like, you can't be mad at him.
Yeah, I mean, I see where Luis Perez is coming from to an extent. However, I'm sure people are looking at him the same way, like, man, come on. Because from what we've seen so far, he looks the same as he did in Vegas.
That's crazy that you say that.
He's good in the green, and when it comes to the red zone, he's not.
That's crazy that you say that, because in the game, the commentator said that the Renegades offense looks good. I was about to say great and good, but good looks good with Luis Perez. I was like, that's wild.
Yeah, I don't know how much I would say I agree with that statement so far. I mean, I wouldn't say that they look terrible, but we seen them go against the Guardians.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, there ain't much competition. I mean, granted, they were coming off their first win, so they was probably like, the hyped up and everything. But I think it was just overhyped for the Guardians.
Yeah, so. I think they simmered down real quick.
Yeah. Another thing though, it's another trick play that happened with the Guardians is that a defender for the Renegades, Ryan Mueller, read the trick play easy. It was basically a reverse where he faked it to the running back beside him, turned around, gave it to the other guy. But by then, Ryan Mueller was already there. Like, he could have tackled both of them if he wanted to.
Yeah, that's a little wild. I don't understand.
That play was honestly just so slow. Like, it was just slow movement. Like everybody was showing like probably 70%.
That sounds like a desperate team right there. When you were trying so many trick plays.
Honestly, I think they just know that. Speaking of which, I personally did not know this because I also said it in the beginning where I don't know if they had playoffs. I just found out that they did have playoffs. So I think what it was is that they was like, we're not in the playoffs, so why does it matter?
However, I believe all 8 teams are in the playoffs, no?
I believe no.
Is it the top 4?
That's why we got a stats guy.
No kidding. Shout out to Brady.
Yeah, so then another thing is that another like wild thing that happened in this game is that quarterback Dormady for the Guardians threw an interception. Was it early in the fourth quarter? Well, after that interception, the running back ran after the the ball holder,
Right.
and stripped the ball back, and they got the ball back.
Yeah.
Granted, they didn't do nothing with it, but they got the. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit.
And then they get it back.
Yeah,
hold on to the ball tighter, bro.
No kidding. That was a really good play to see on their end, but at the end of the day, like you said, they didn't do anything with it. So,
yeah, unfortunately, like I said, all the hype for the Guardians, I think it was just hype. Nothing, no talk or anything like that. Nothing that they did. So, unfortunately, they did lose again, and now they are 1-7, and they only lost by 2. So, I mean, congrats on not losing bad.
This is true. I guess you could say that they stayed in it, but they definitely didn't stay in it enough.
Right. Now after that game came the Roughnecks and I was about to say Bills. Wow. Bulls game.
Yeah, are you talking about Battle of the Texans, dude?
Practically.
Or what was the stadium that it happened in? Where was that? Interception City?
That was a lot. The game was a lot of back and forth.
Dude, I think that's all I heard.
I was surprised. The game was a lot of back and forth. Another thing that happened in there that I seen was the cycle of the quarterbacks for the Brahmas came back to Jack Cohen.
Yeah.
Now they're back at the top.
They finally made full cycle, and the quarterbacks and decided they're either just gonna run it like a pitch count on baseball, or they got their guy. We'll see what they do next week, though.
But one thing is that Paxton Lynch, he was inactive, and then Ben Kurt, who played last week for the Bulls, he is on IR, so that's why Cohen came back. I guarantee it. So, but still, you made your cycle through all your quarterbacks, and here we are with Jack Cohen again.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm really focus on the Bull side of this because there's a lot that I've been seeing since the beginning. Is that their offensive line is garbage. I'm not I probably said that before. I don't remember, but you're in week 8. And yet you still don't have an offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely glad that you're not trying to be biased here or anything like that. But
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, refs did this. They're cheating. Blah blah blah. Coach, put them out. What are you doing? Blah blah blah. No, I think it's just a whole team problem.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to disagree with you. However, I also feel like I give them so much hate. I'm going to let you do it this week. And I'm just going to give them a little bit of praise and say John Parker Romo saved the Brahmas and sent them into a different overtime.
Yeah, which was the second overtime, but they still lost.
See, and thanks to that article, guess what? I thought that was the first one, and I had that in my notes as the first one, which is why you just shocked me.
Yeah. No, so honestly, if they could get their O-line together, dude, because the game was kind of close in the beginning. It was close to end too.
I was going to say it was close.
So that was a defensive game. It was a good defensive game. So now the only problem is that the offense can barely score.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that with both of those offenses as of lately, which makes perfect sense as to why we've seen such a heavy defense game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, both teams really need to figure it out. if they plan on going anywhere in the playoffs, if they are even in playoff contention.
I'm not
which
too
I
sure
don't
about
think
that.
they are.
We'll look into it and we'll bring it to you next week on who's like in it and who's out right now.
Yeah,
Or
that'll be
who
some
can
good
win to get
stats
in.
for you guys. We might actually get those plugged in on the social medias too. So make sure to follow us on there, which we'll tell you at the end of the video.
But one thing is like I was talking about the offensive line where their running back Patrick, great running back, dude is a powerhouse. Well, if you get the offensive line going, you can definitely get him to run a lot better. He can break like 1 or 2 tackles and get so far. You get an offensive line blocking for him, he could probably make it further and break those 2 tackles and possibly get a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't disagree with that. However, I think they are more than just a couple characters away from being a really good team. They got some building to do, but that's a lot of the teams in the XFL that we see so far. I really don't see a single team, I would say, that's really pieced together. Maybe the Defenders, but even they have some wiggle room on things that they could work on, because I don't know if Tamu's answer there long term. And since I brought up the topic, if you want to go ahead and get into the Defenders game and you're done with the Bulls game, we could do that.
Yeah, I was going to be honest with you. I didn't like that game was just too close. Nothing really big was happening with them. I just wanted to talk about the Bulls and their problem because, like, you know, I told you I was going to ride with them till the end. So, yeah, you're going to get some criticism from me because you're going to have to fix your problems.
No kidding. You guys better be listening, GMs, coaches.
They don't have GMs.
Well, that's fair, actually.
The XFL owns them.
I just feel like maybe the coaches are GMs in a way, though.
True. But yeah, we can get into the next game talking about Teamu and his Defenders and Ben DiNucci and his Sea Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up DiNucci, so I'll go ahead and lead with him. We seen DiNucci casually running for his life again this week. What else did we see under the Sea Dragons uniforms?
Boy, oh boy. We got Phillip Lindsay in his debut. He got the first touchdown for the Sea Dragons. I was excited for him.
Yeah.
I was happy for him, actually.
I was definitely excited for him, too. I seen him on a couple more plays than that, so I'm glad to see that they're already using him after just now picking him up. So they know that that boy's talented, and it seems like they're going to use him for what he's worth.
Most definitely. I did look into their roster to pick up some of his stats, which I'll talk about later on. But they got him at number 1 for running back number 1. Well, I was like, ain't that something? Because you just came in and they put you at 1. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you know if you come from the NFL, you might have some big rankings in the XFL. That's just something to think about.
Most definitely. And like I told you last week, we weren't here, or might have been last week before, we weren't hearing a lot about these guys, these NFL players that you were hearing about week 1. But for some reason this week, you heard about Martavius Bryant. Josh Gordon made a couple good plays. He did a great reach play with toe tapping. He knocked some guy over. So I was like, okay, lowering that shoulder, showing how big you are.
Yep, still using all that physical strength and the aggressiveness that he's got to play.
That's one thing I like about the XFL, though. They let things go so far to an extent.
Yeah.
Where if something was to happen as soon as it happened, the NFL is like, you stop it now or we're going to flag you or eject you. So that's one thing I do like about the XFL. You know, it's competition. It's going to get heated. You know, let the guys say their words and then they'll move away from each other. Now, if they go further and start swinging or something like that, yeah, do something about it. But, like, either way, they're going to talk to each other because they're going to defend each other.
I think they need like a mini ring on the side of the football field for if players want to fight. They can just hop in there and
just turn it into hockey at that point.
Yeah, essentially an ice box, basically.
Just turn it into hockey at that point, and just let them go a few rounds.
Send 2 players to the ice box and don't let them out till they're not angry no more.
Right. That or somebody. I mean, one of them's walking away at least.
Well, yep, this is true.
But no. So like, back to what we were talking about the game.
right.
Off of that side note, did you see that the Sea Dragons ran a Hail Mary play, basically, and the ball got tipped in the air, and I think his name is Blake Jackson, caught the ball from the air, and it scored a touchdown.
I did not see that.
This all happened in the end zone, but like the ball got tipped, he got it, and they scored, and they got it close again. Like, this game was so close, dude. Like, honestly, not gonna lie, in my side notes, I was like, this is my favorite game. Like, this was edge seating, like, sit on the edge of your seat, because, like, if you want the Sea Dragons to win, like, oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. This definitely was probably one of the more intense ones this week, I would say. Had me biting my nails, especially with how Tamu seemed to have butterfingers anytime he held the ball too long.
Dude, I did see Tianu, something like that.
We apologize deeply. If, however, you would like to get in contact with us and let us know how to pronounce your name, you can do
it right here, right beside me or him, and we'll have a great podcast with you. Just, hit us up at Balling with the Boys.
Let us know. No pressure.
I'll have you contact my agent, Brady.
We're going to have to talk about that too, because I don't think we brought that up yet.
Oh, no? Okay. Well, you got an interview coming up. Be ready. So yeah, I did see that he got rocked on one play though, and I was like, dude, I think he might be out. But no, he stayed in. He toughed it out, and I was like, see, this is what it's about, having the heart to play though.
Yeah, he Undertakered himself up there, and he got back in there and kept playing. So, I mean, props to him for that, for sure. He's got strength to play the game. We can say that.
But yeah, I would say this is my favorite back and forth game so far. I'd love to see them two go at it like in the playoffs or even in the championship game. I feel like they would be great.
Yeah, I definitely think those two would be a really good game. I think the DC Defenders kind of fell off maybe a little bit in the second half, but they didn't fall off enough to
lose another game.
Yeah. I mean, to lose another game.
They're not the Roughnecks. So, they don't start going downhill.
Yeah, they still kept their head above water the whole time. So.
My thing is that both quarterbacks actually showed out, dude.
Yeah, they definitely did.
They both placed the ball where it needed to be placed on their completions. And speaking about the completions, Ben DiNucci, he went 23 for 42 and 301 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Oof.
And Tiamu went 17 for 26 for 247 yards with 4 touchdowns. I was like, dude, this was a quarterback duel basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive. And since you had to go and use the term balled out, the person that I used the term balled out for in my notes was Abram Smith. Because it just seems like he consistently does it, dude. Day in, day out, every single week, he comes in there and he shows us what he can do.
It's why he's the rushing leader with 717 yards.
Bengals. Abram Smith. It's not our fault Joe Mixon wants to be a thug, but we need a running back, dude.
I mean, you could give Chris Evans a shot.
That's fair. All right, hey. Well, I don't know if he re-signed to us, though, dude.
Isn't he still on rookie contract?
No, he shouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
Don't believe so. All right.
So another familiar name's going to come up with the Defenders, Lucky Jackson. Did you see the reverse play that Lucky Jackson ran?
I did see that.
He was way behind the line of scrimmage. Talk about speed.
He definitely showed it off in that. I would call him a road runner for sure.
Most definitely. I got his 40 actually.
Is that a road runner? I don't know if the mics picked that up or not,
but no, I got his 40. He ran a 4.3 unofficial time. I mean, granted, it's unofficial, but you still ran a 4.3 on your 40.
That's literally a 0.1.
No wonder you're
John
like
Ross's
making these plays.
That's wild.
So, but other than that, man, all my notes are about to be finished up. My favorite game overall. Throughout all the weeks, this was probably my favorite game. It was so close to call. Both teams went out there and played their hearts out. Nobody gave up, kept playing. So I would love to see this team in the playoffs go at it, or in the championship game to go at it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely second that. I can agree with you on it being the best game this week. I don't know about this season. I've seen some very good games this season throughout. I would have to go back and rewatch some to confirm that. But I wouldn't mind seeing these two teams at the championship game 100%. That would be a good game in the end.
Honestly, shout out to the Sea Dragons, though, for coming up, like, bringing their team up from the ground, basically. You know, you guys started off really slow, and now you guys are going on winning games. Like, congratulations to you guys. Keep it going. I should have chose you to begin with, but here we are with the Bulls. So, yeah, other than that, my notes are finished, guys. Justin, you got anything else?
I mean, I don't neither. Besides, I should have gone with the DC Defenders from the start because, like, their color scheme is nice on their.
I like their
jerseys,
helmets.
So.
Their helmets are nice. The camo. So, but other than that, you guys know we're about to close out. I'm your boy Chris.
I'm Justin.
And you guys always know to keep balling.
Balling.